really? That's the
So,
closest to a holiday and probably as close to the ocean as I'm going to get in the next few weeks, right?
yeah, true.
I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So, the three of us, we are three. I think we're three incredible women that have done some amazing things in our lives, and with everything that's happening with COVID-19 and being in isolation and not getting out there and seeing people and catching up with people, Michelle, you come up with this amazing idea to start a vodcast.
Well, you know, one of the things about what's going on right now where we find ourselves is that we think back to all the things that we wished we had time for.
Yeah.
You know, I think back over my life and I think, I wish I'd had time to do this and I wish I had time to do that. And I wouldn't say I have a huge amount of time right now. I am still working, and most of us are actually still working. But I think that sometimes it takes a catalyst or a crisis in our lives to actually get us up and get us activated. And I think we've been discussing, you know, different things we could do and what might help. And I think that this was the catalyst that we needed. And I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time. I've had various goes at starting podcasts before. I've never been able to get them off the ground. I think that's because I've always tried to do it on my own. And so I'm really pleased to have you girls around me to help me get this into action. And hopefully it'll be interesting and people will listen.
Yeah. And because of this whole vodcast idea, you know, the three of us, you know, I think we should tell everyone a little bit about ourselves and, you know, what our backgrounds are. And Kathy, can I start with you?
Oh, okay. You must. Yeah, sure. Happy to go first. So I suppose, first and foremost, I'm a mum. I've got 2 adult children, and they drive me bonkers, but they're amazing. And married to a great guy called Jeff. We've been married, I think, 26 or 27 years, but, you know, who's counting?
You should be, but anyway, that's another subject probably.
Well, I'll tell you what, working from home, there's a thought. Oh my gosh, there's my phone. Hang on, see, it is live. It is
We
live.
are actually working.
I know.
It's good.
So my background is I have a creative arts background, and
Yep.
Also work very much, or have worked in the past in that events field, and working in associations, not-for-profits and things like that. And currently I'm working with people, helping them just access funds for various medical procedures and things. But essentially, look, at my core is I'm a creative individual. I love having fun and making life enjoyable and helping people. And I'm also an author, or a would-be author, so you have to stay with it. And I've got 2 projects at the moment that I'm working on. So one's a bit of a humorous, factual book, and another one is a like a supernatural novel. So
Oh, wow.
very different. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Michelle, tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I have had a management career for most of my life. I've been in management. I currently am the CEO for a member association, an industry body, and I've been in associations now for quite some time. This year actually became a certified association executive, so now I'm official.
Wow.
I've been a company director and am currently a chairman of the Top Blokes Foundation and sit on a couple of other boards as well. I'm also married. 30 years, just had our 30th wedding anniversary this year. I have 2 kids who are a bit younger. They are 16 and 19. So I don't see them much. Even in this at-home stage, I don't see them because they are in their rooms on Zoom or talking to their friends or on Xbox right now because it's school holidays. So I still don't see them like I don't see them when we're not in COVID. So anyway. And I've had a very interesting sort of career and background, which included sort of a bit in the for-profit sector as well, in transport particularly. I've worked in the not-for-profit sector for church, and you know, I'm now sort of in the association, which is still the not-for-profit sector but not charity. And I've dabbled in politics a little.
Wow.
I was a councillor for about 6 years in Wollongong, which I really enjoyed, one of the highlights of my life actually. And I'm now embarking on speaking and mentoring other people to help them achieve more in their life.
That is awesome. Well, my background is I've been married for 14 years and have two adult children in their 20s, two boys, and one of them lives in Sydney, and the other one still lives at home with us. And like you, Kathy, and Michelle, I don't really see much of him unless he comes out and says hello, because he's got his own life. My background, I've written all this down because I've got so many things rattling around in my head. I have to write things down, so I'm going to look at my notes. My background's in the media. I've come out of the photographic background, been involved with photography, moved into radio then for about 8 years. You'll still hear my voice on voiceovers, radio and TV. And we also run, with my husband, another business partner called Gabriel, we run a creative production agency that's doing a lot in the digital sector now, which is because of COVID. And everything we had been doing was event-based and photography and video-based, where we're out on the jobs doing things, and all that's on hold now. And we've been doing that for about 14 years or so, and I'm also involved in a mentoring scheme helping people in business and those looking for work on the side, and it's a not-for-profit organisation as well, and it's my heart, like you ladies, to step out of your comfort zone and impart our knowledge and who we are to others. And I suppose that's what's good about what we're doing here. You know, Michelle, you've wanted to, start a podcast for years, and I've been wanting to do something like this myself, and I'm kind of inspired by you two ladies, that, we're all living in different areas, doing something completely different, and we're kind of stepping out of our comfort zone to do something again, on top of our busy lives.
Yeah, well, I think that, it came about for me because for many, many years, people have said to me, how do you do what you do? And can you give me some tips? And I often find myself in coffee shops, not lately, but normally in coffee shops, offering pieces of advice and trying to help, particularly women, but a few blokes as well on the side, with their levels of confidence and capacity building, and just helping them see that actually they can achieve a whole lot more than they ever thought that they could. And I think that so often we, for some reason, think we can't do, but I think we can actually do a whole lot more than we thought we could. And we can actually achieve more in our world than we think we can. And sometimes we just need that little nudge from a friend or somebody to help guide us through, to help take us to that next level. And that's what I love about you girls, having you girls around me. And as you said, Marina, we're in all different parts of Sydney. I'm on the north, Kathy's in the south, and you're down in the Illawarra. And how great is it that we can live miles away from each other, yet we can still encourage one another. And technology has helped us do that. And I think that one of the advantages of the situation we find ourselves now in with COVID is that actually we've made ourselves come together. We girls have been catching up on a, semi-occasional basis for a number of years. And we've all talked about how we'd like to be able to help others, really. We all come from that heart of wanting to help and assist wherever we can in the lives of others. And it's been something like this that's made it happen. And so here we are with our first podcast. And certainly we want to be out there helping people, giving them, quick tips and takeaways so that, they can be encouraged in their life, because there's so much negativity now.
Yeah. I really love that. I really love that, because you said takeaways, and this is like you said, our first one. Sorry, Kathy, I feel like I'm hogging it.
No, it's fine. I'm just listening. I'm just taking it all in. It's fine.
Yeah, but what I like is this is our first one, and I'm really excited. And we've been hashing out ideas for our first one, and we've both agreed we're going to call this Takeaway Talk, which is really cool. And I love what you were saying, Michelle, that, we've all got something to offer and we're all capable of doing something, but sometimes how we see ourselves we think, oh, we might not be able to do it. We think we're not capable. And And Kathy, I know we were talking about this last week, you know, about the capabilities. You know, we see ourselves one way, but others see us differently. And what would you say the takeaway is for today? Throwing it on you.
Oh, so you've caught me out. So I think it's really important to remember that one of the things that we really started out talking about the power is the fact that we're just ordinary girls living lives, ordinary lives. We're not superstars, but in that very part of being ordinary, you bring this extraordinary contribution when you step out and want to help people, not as something that's contrived, but it's just something that bubbles up in you know, out of you. And I think that the takeaway is that, you know, everyone is ordinary, but we can become extraordinary individuals just by reaching out, touching each other, and doing it from a genuine motivation. And so that's what inspires me, is just being who we are, being very down to earth, sharing warts and all stories, because it's the warts and alls that encourage other people to keep going. And that if you share your failures, you also then hopefully can share your successes, that you do live through it. And so maybe the takeaway is just that you might think you're ordinary, but just by being ordinary, if you step out, you can do extraordinary things, and you know, in your life and in others' lives. So
Wow.
Fabulous. And I think that's right. I think many times we think, who am I? Nobody will listen to me. I haven't got anything to offer the world. But the fact is that we're all a little older than perhaps some who might be listening to this, a little younger than others. But, you know, we just mentioned how long we've all been married. So clearly we're not younglings anymore. And so, you know, so we've learned a few things along the way. And I think that some of the things I've learned along the way, I wish I'd known when I was younger. You know, might I have been able to get further and go further than perhaps I already have? And don't get me wrong, I've had a fabulous career. I have a fabulous life. I think I'm quite successful in my own right, and living life to its fullest.
Yeah.
But how much further could I be, or where else might I be, if somebody had helped me earlier in my life to actually have that confidence to step up and to step out and to recognise that actually there's nothing wrong with ordinary. I mean, one of the problems I think with TV, we're probably all watching too much TV these days, is that, you know, there's all these celebs everywhere, there's celebrities everywhere, and we think, oh, well, I'm not famous, so I can't. But what is fame? Who decides who's famous? Who decides who is the celebrity? And the fact is that there are more ordinary people out there than there are celebrities, and we are quite ordinary women. But I think that we've got something to offer the world, and you know, if we offer something that somebody doesn't like, well, they'll switch off, won't they? But for those who might want to feel encouraged, we think that we've got some great stories and some great insights that we can share with you over the next weeks and months that will hopefully offer you a bit of encouragement, a bit of a laugh, and a bit of a tip to get you through the next few weeks and months.
Yeah. So moving forward with our takeaway talk, each of us going to do a little blog each week about something regarding our topic that we're going to talk about. Is that
great idea?
Yeah, I think that's really good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And in the process, because it's our first one, our website has just come live. So we hope you enjoy it. And I think because we're still in the COVID-19 ISO situation, sometimes it can be a little bit depressing, and people are living in a state of fear at the moment, and we're kind of stepping out from that and giving our listeners an opportunity to think about things. And if anyone's got any questions about anything we're talking about, or if there's something you would like us to talk about, you know, please drop us a line to takeawaytalk.com. We'd love to hear from you. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, because there's so much negativity, it'll be great to touch on, say, random acts of kindness during COVID. I think that'll be a good one to touch on next week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be great. And can I give you a quick story that like could get you excited about what we might talk about next week?
I love to.
So I went walking around my lake. So I live near a lake, which is lovely. And this week I went walking with a friend of mine who's actually a nurse. So she's on the front line, healthcare worker at one of our local hospitals here in Sydney. And, you know, she was telling me that on her day off from the hospital, she baked cinnamon scrolls and took them to a neighbour who had had to have surgery unexpectedly. Now, you know, I mean, she's not in the hospital. She could just sit down and relax, and people are bringing them food and bringing them all sorts of things. But what does she do? She just has that servant heart and that desire to care for others. And so she cooks on her day off, and she still cares for other people, even outside the hospital. What an amazing woman. And I think there's lots and lots of those kinds of stories out there that we can share and that we can offer encouragement to others about.
I love it. I love it. So, Kathy, remind us again what the takeaway is for today.
Pressure. The takeaway is just by being ordinary, you can change the world and make it an extraordinary place.
Love it. Thanks, ladies.
Fabulous.
And thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening.
Yeah, good. We'll catch you all next week.